So here we are, back in Florida's Worst Vlog, getting ready to install the Jandy Pro Series Zodiac Aqualink RS4 system and replacing this old, what was this? This used to be Aqua Switch control center. I don't know what brand this was. Let's see, it looks like it might have been Jandy as well, but you can see this is what the control panel used to look like. This is the wire that goes over our house. It's no longer connected, so these two blue wires that are supposed to go to control panels don't go to anything. These are just empty wires now. But anyway, you can see how I have it connected here out of the main breaker box. I had it go into a Wi-Fi smart switch here, and this is now going to be coming off, and we're going to start the removal of this box and get it down to just the bare wires so we can see what we're dealing with. Oh, sorry. So we can see what we're dealing with. So let's go ahead and start tearing it apart. Alright, so as you can see here, our master mechanic Tom is with his masonry bit drilling a pre-hole into the wall to get this box mounted. There's the box over there. You can see we've taken the old box off the wall and taken all the wires out. Sully's helping out by digging up all the sprinkler lines. Good dog. Okay, so Tom's about to head home for dinner, but he did get the box mounted for us. As you can see, we still have to get the conduit busted out and attached. He's being called right now because dinner's ready.
Hey, sweetie.
Oh my goodness. The one of the actuators that was already on my pool, like I said, is functional, so I'm going to go ahead and reuse that one. It is a original Jandy 2440 actuator, so I'm going to leave that on there. So I went ahead and wired that on up into the box now that we had the box mounted, and I went ahead and stuck the conduit up into the bottom of the box, but as you can see, the sizes are off. So I'm gonna have to get some sort of an adapter at Home Depot tomorrow for those holes. Maybe some washers or something to put in there to make those close tight. And then we still have the issue with the main or the sub panel here. What I'm having an issue with is that this is an aftermarket Hayward heat pump that was put in when we moved into the house by the previous owners. You can see they wired it there to a junction box, and then that conduit runs over and up into the bottom of the power box, and then we have two lines and a neutral coming out of the conduit, and these two lines both hit the breaker right here. Double banger 50 amp breaker. So for us to run the heat, we've been just kicking that on and off to turn the heat on and off. But for us to be able to control the heat with this box, those lines need to go through the relays. So I'm going to have to reroute this conduit, pull these lines out of here, and put them in the relays. I mean, according to what I'm reading on the instructions. So I'm really confused about that. I may need to call an electrician about this. Meanwhile, I got two more projects tonight. One of them is mounting this on the side of the house here. Our Wi-Fi is inside that third window down there, so should link up. And then out of our two actuators, like I said, I have one that works and the other one I got to install on that valve there. So I'm going to install one of the Jandy actuators tonight before it gets too dark. So I went ahead and drilled one nice 3-hole. Gonna put another one right below. Little screw here. And drill far enough to that little bit. We'll pull it back out. See if that works. All right, so now that that's mounted about 6 feet off the ground, I'm going to run that line straight over to the conduit that comes out of the side of the house there. Okay, so let's take a look at how we stand at the end of our first day. As you can see, it's pretty dark out. We do have the box mounted. Thank you, Tom. The conduit that goes into the bottom is too small for the holes, so I'm going to have to get some sort of an adapter to connect that tight in there. Coming out the side here, we're going to need a piece of this flexible conduit to come out the side, go around, and come up into that back hole there for the main power. Sorry about my finger in the picture. We have the two, oh, that's Sully back in there hunting for bugs. So we have the two actuators connected. One of them there is the old one, and then there's the new one. They come preset. If you install it the correct way, they come preset to go left and right with the standard flow right down the middle. So that was easy to connect. We got the two cables coming up and tucked into the low voltage section there, and then we have the wire coming up in the box from our Wi-Fi adapter that we've connected to the side of the wall there and attached to the conduit wrapped around it. So tomorrow is going to be a day of running the flexible conduit to get the breaker box connected. We might have to talk to an electrician about why the heater is going into a double banger here, but according to the instructions, this should just be connected right into the relay, and only this powering up that whole box. I don't know how that works, so we'll talk to him tomorrow about that. But besides that, I mean, couldn't ask for more than that. I haven't drilled the hole into our line there for the temperature thermometer that sticks in the pipe. I haven't done that yet, so I'll have to do that tomorrow. Alright, you guys, it's been a week. I know you saw the unboxing video that I posted about the new system we're installing. It's been a week, and I'll tell you why it's been a week. Let me go over some of the things that I ran into here with the pool equipment that we're installing. Okay, as you can see, we have a Hayward heat pump Pro, it's called, that goes with our pool equipment. And then here's the control centers. This is a sub panel. We have a 60 amp breaker in here now. When we started this install, they had a 30 amp breaker in there, and they had 6 gauge wire running to the 30 amp breaker to this junction box on the wall behind the heater you see over there. And then they had 10 gauge wire, so 6 gauge met 10 gauge running to the actual transformer inside the pool heater here inside the box. As you know, that's completely dangerous. You're not supposed to step down wire by 2 sizes any time ever. So what I've done, the reason this has taken me a week, now, I work on the weekends at the hospital, so I don't have 24 hours a day to be out here working on this thing. But what I did is I called the manufacturer, and originally I thought, okay, you have your relays in here, and the power is supposed to run through the relay to cut the heater on and off. But I've been concerned since beginning this install that this relay couldn't handle 240 volts, 60 amps running through it, which is correct. What we have is two little connectors on here that are low voltage connectors, and those low voltage connectors go into the control board, and I'll show you the connection for that as we get closer to starting this guy up. But basically here you see low voltage heater, pins 1 and 2 on the board. That's what we're going to end up doing. So had the hardest time. I called the manufacturer and I said, I'm really not supposed to run 240 60 amp through this board, right? And they're like, what electrical company are you with? And I'm like, I'm not an electrician, I'm a homeowner installing this on my own. And they really didn't want to give me any advice. They want me to get an electrician because they want all this to be up to code, blah blah blah. So I said, you know what, screw it. I looked into it some more and found out it's the same as Cat 5 cable. So I took a regular Cat 5, stripped it down, put blue and blue-white into the connectors on the heater board, and then I'm going to put the blue and blue-white into the control panel. So that's done. The other thing that needed to be done was just rewiring the entire stretch. So from my 60 amp switch, I took 6 gauge. I have 6 gauge and a ground. The ground is already on the board. My 2 lines all the way through over, and it's going to go into I've wired it into the heater there. You can see the 2 6 gauge there. So I got 6 gauge all the way for this board. Could go to 4 gauge if we wanted to be super safe, but the thing is I got 2 boards here, or 2 panels. This one will flip if anything happens, and then the one in the garage is where this goes ultimately. So we got 2 switches that'll kill this thing if we have any surges or any problems with that. The other thing that I've done here, I've run all the wires from the breaker over into the control box. They all come up back through here. I got 2 lines coming in going to the filter pump relay, and I've got them bridged over to the blower relay. So all this power should be combined, but the relays are on separate switches. So these relays will be connected to the power board. Hopefully that works. The other one was bridged, so I figured that I could bridge this one as well. We'll see. So basically all I have to do now is close up the heater. I've got the power run. See, the old power is laying up here on top. This is what I cut off that the guy that installed this heater put on here. Way too small of wire for this thing. 240 60 amp is rated at 4 gauge, 6 gauge very least. And you can see the transformers all black. The wires I pulled out of there were melted to the sleeves. The conduit was melted. Everything was melted. Here the old 6 gauge sticking out, and everything was just melted and fried. So we've replaced all of that. I don't want to even have to deal with that. So anyway, we're going to finish real quick wrapping this up, and once I put everything back together here, we should be able to put power on it and see what happens. So there's a screw on the front, screw on the side, and then there's a screw that goes on this side. Okay, so here we are with the control panel. Now prior to installing, like I said, the heater, the 2 little heater cables are going to go right there to 1 and 2 on that green bar. And here's the end of my, oh, you can't see with all the other wires there, but I have that Cat 5 cable run into there. Everything else will connect pin on pin in one of these guys right here they're assigned to. Something I had to study the book for here were these dip switches. Make sure the dip switches are all set on and off depending on what kind of system you're installing. Since I have a pool spa combo, some of the switches are a little bit different. Like when I push the number 3 aux button where it says aux 3, that'll just put it into overflow mode, which will just flow the spa over. That's just one of the changes here on the pool spa combo with the dip switches. Okay, so just to make it a little bit easier, I'm just going ahead and attaching the board here. Okay, so when I attached this one, which is the line that goes to the, when I attached this one, which is the line that goes to the Wi-Fi connector, I didn't realize this little guy comes out. So these little connectors right here come out, and then this one slides on. So it already had the connector on the end of there. I was like, how do I get that? But anyway, that's how you get that guy out of there. I relay 1 and relay 2 for the filter and the blower. See, I've labeled it filter and blower. These two relays are unused as of right now. I'm just pulling these back in. Okay. Main power to the board is already connected on the back, and now all I have left to connect are the JVAs and the 2 wires that are going to go to number 1 and 2 here for the heater. The one that I put the line around is my brand new one, which goes with this JVA down here, which is the intake. Remember, this is right before the pump. So it says up here intake. I'm going to plug it into the intake, and then the older one goes to the return. So this is going to go to the return. Now, according to the manufacturer, these are preset, so I don't need to do anything with them once we're up and running. They know which way to turn in order to go to spa mode, in order to go to the...
Can we change the presets once it's up and running?
Yeah, everything can be changed on it, but hopefully I don't have to.
I meant the temperatures.
It's a process. The temperatures are, yeah. We'll do all the temperature stuff on our phone.
Okay.
On the app. So, connected. Now, one last thing is the 2 J7 cables into slots 1 and 2. The screwdriver's too big. Get yourself a eyeglass screwdriver set like we have here. These regular screwdrivers will not fit in this green 10 bar. Because worst case scenario, and take this from me, worst case scenario, this whole thing blows to crap and I got flames and smoke everywhere. The worst case scenario is I can take and hardwire my filter pump straight to the box and at least get it running so that it doesn't turn green while I call an electrician to come out and do this the right way. So that's how I'm figuring. We're not going to jump in the pool before we throw a toad or a frog or a lizard in it to make sure that nobody's getting fried. That's my safety plan. And first things first, I'm not going to film the part where we turn power on for the first time.
Right.
I'm not going to put that on camera.
Right.
Just in case. I don't want any liability. Alright, you guys, so we've got everything connected here. Everything's attached. And the last thing I have to put on is just number 5 and 6, which go to the water thermometer, which is right here. I'm going to install that in this vertical pipe right between the filter and the filter pump. That way it'll take the temperature of the heater and turn the heater on and off as needed. But real quick, let's just go ahead and let's turn the heater back on. But just want to show you guys that I'll go ahead and change this over to service mode and turn the filter pump on. As you can see, I'll turn that heat pump back off. There's not enough flow coming in right now. But as you can see, that pump is running. And then let's see if the air blower works. Air blower works. So everything's working off the relays. Our 2 valves are operational as well. So what I'm going to do now is hook up these wires. Let's go ahead and turn it back off. I'm going to hook up these 2 wires and start drilling into that line. So we should be able to tighten that down real good so the O-ring seats inside the PVC. Okay, so drilled the little 3/8 inch hole, put the thermometer inside the hole, and ran the wire over here and up. I'm going to clean all these up, I think, with some zip ties and stuff, but I got the end of the wire here that's going to go into numbers 5 and 6 on the 10 bar green. So as you can see, there's a black and a red. They didn't say in the book which one to put on which, so I just went black on 5, red on 6. We'll see if that works. I'm going to wrap up all this extra line back here in the low voltage area. Alright, so we still have power off, but we're good here. We have 1 and 2 goes to the heater, 5, 6 goes to the water temperature, 7, 8 goes to the air temperature. All of our low powers are back there wrapped up on the side. High powers are down there. Let's go ahead and, or high voltage I mean. Let's go ahead and screw this guy up. Okay, so now power's still off. Temperature stuff is all back on. Let's go ahead and turn on the power to the box and see if the lights come on. And it's flashing. And it goes directly to which mode? Oh, it wants me to select the mode. So let's go to service mode. There we go. So I put it in service mode. That way I can go ahead and do it by button. I went ahead and turned all the switches on now. We're in service mode. Filter pump is running. I just blew the instruction book off the top of the heater. Heater's running. Full pump's running. Okay, so now I'm back in the air conditioning. Everything is set up. The thermometer is attached. The unit, all the power is back on it. And I went to iAqualink.com. and went into the Wi-Fi settings and found, if you go into your Wi-Fi settings and look through the available networks, one of them will be the iAqualink network. So you connect to that and then you put in your password for your Wi-Fi network, and this is how it finally comes around after it's all attached and you got that. So it tells me because of that, right now I've got you can see the spas bubbling out there. I got it in spa mode. And so it's telling me the spa temperature is 85 degrees. The air temperature outside is 84. And I'll look on my phone real quick and it's pretty close. And then you can see the things that are lit up. The filter pump is running. It's in spa mode. And spa heat is on and air blowers are on. So if I were to click on air blowers here, you can see the jets out there will turn off. When I click on it here, they'll turn back on. And it tells you that they'll stop blowing after 30 minutes. So there they go. They're back on again. I could not get it into, it says in the Hayward heater instruction manual, it says to put it into setup mode and set it to E for external connections. I couldn't figure out how to get it into setup mode. The way I found out is there is a Google search. How do you get into this setup mode in my Hayward Heat Pro? So I type that in and it tells you the function. So go do that. You're going to need to do that if you have the same heater as I do. Anyway, ever since I did that, it does it perfect now. The heater stays off. It's on like a bypass mode. And when the pool is low, it'll heat it up. And when the pool is high, it'll turn it off. When I turn the spa on, it'll go to the spa temperature. So it's climbing right now. It was on 83, now it's at 87. It's going to go to 102. And then it'll be ready for us to get in. And the menu has a good setup program. I'm going to set the date and times. I'm going to set the system to come on and off automatically. I'm going to put a schedule in there. All this stuff, you can figure out yourselves. Run days. It's just like setting up a sprinkler system, as far as I can tell. But I will come back in a few days and put some notes into my comments and let you know how it's running. But right now, I mean, I can't complain. It's doing what I'm telling it to do. And as long as I can do that from anywhere in the world, which on my phone I can, then I'll be happy. So